Thank you so much for coming on with to do this with me.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. I'm excited.
So I have some questions about photography.
All right. I might have some answers.
Yeah. Um, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I grew up in Buffalo, New York, moved to Kansas City in 97, and have been photographing bands since, well, 98, or 88. Sorry.
Oh, that's like,
Yeah. So my first major label band that I ever shot was They Might Be Giants in 1988 at the Syracuse Student Union in upstate New York.
that's fun.
Yeah.
So how did you get involved with that band?
You know, I didn't know them at all other than their music, and I just went with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, with a camera to the show and started taking pictures.
Did you get to go backstage and check them out at all?
Nope, nope, I didn't get to meet him. Although, just this year they put out an anniversary version of the Lincoln album, and they have a magazine that goes along with it, and pictures from that 1988 gig are in that book. So they were looking for pictures from that era, and paid me for the photos that I took back in 1988. So took a long time to get paid, but eventually I did.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool
Yeah,
that you got to take pictures of them.
yeah.
Um, so what's how did you get into photography?
When I was in middle school, my father purchased a 35 millimeter fixed lens Ryko camera for me, and I don't know why. I'll have to ask him one day why he thought it would be a good idea to buy a camera for me. I don't think I ever mentioned I wanted to take pictures, but it turned out great. My grandfather always my grandfather on my mom's side always took pictures when they would tour and travel, and my mother's youngest brother was a photography teacher on Long Island. But I had never taken pictures, so I'm not sure what his thinking was, but it turned out great. That's how I started.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Um, do you have a favorite band in Kansas City that you like to like to
Um,
shoot?
there's a lot of them.
Well, you can
So
give
it's
just give me a couple.
Okay. Well, there's a band called Cherokee Rock Rifle that no longer plays, but they were one of my favorite bands to shoot. I just finished taking pictures of Radke and Lawrence for their Halloween show. They're always super fun to take pictures of. Emmeline Twist. There's so many. I'm feel bad because I'll be leaving out about 50 bands, but
Uh,
those are three good ones, anyways.
oh, that's good. That's good. So, do you have a favorite lens you like to use when you're doing a shoot?
It depends on what I'm doing. And then it changes. Sometimes I'll just change stuff up. Like Radke, um, I was using a 50 millimeter and a 130 millimeter prime lens. So that means that's all they shoot, 50 millimeters and 130 millimeters. Often I'll shoot with lenses that are 16 to 35 millimeters, so they're zoom lenses. They do multiple focal lengths, and so I usually use that 16 to 35 and 70 to 200. I guess my favorite lens is my 15 millimeter fisheye lens, which I've used since I don't know when, 2005 maybe. I have had three of them because I wear them out. Um, so that's kind of that maybe if I have a signature, that might be the signature lens. It gets I'm able to be right at the front of the stage and get the whole band in the picture, which is kind of cool. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. I mean, I have a couple of lens, but I only have not so many. But
Yeah.
uh, um, what's a day in the life as a photographer?
Oh man. Well. there's a lot of waiting. So there's mostly what I do is live pictures. I do album cover stuff, or I do portraits and things like that. Not anywhere near as many of those as I do live. So live pictures, you get, depending on the gig, like if it's at Sprint Center, you go and you wait in the back room, and then you go out to the stage for the 3 songs. Usually it's 3 songs, and then you get escorted back out of the auditorium or theater, and wait again for the next band, and then usually you have to ditch your cameras if you're going to watch the rest of the show after the first 3 songs. Places like the Record Bar, often I'll get there, right before the show starts, and get a spot in front of the stage, and wait for the band to start, shoot the band, wait for the changeover and the next band to start, and wait for the changeover and next band to start. But it's yeah, and depending on the band, sometimes I'll photograph for the whole show, and sometimes I'll photograph for a few songs. I usually like to start with a wide shot and get the whole band, and then move into individuals, and then when I close out the session, I close out with more wide shots, maybe from the back of the room, so it kind of flows. I feel like it flows, anyways.
Well, you do a good job at it.
Well, thanks. I've
That's
shot millions of pictures.
you do. I mean, I love them all.
Well,
Um,
thanks, man.
I feel like how I met you is through Alicia at the time,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Right on. Yeah, I've shot a bunch of beautiful body shows, that's for sure.
and it's just cool that I felt like I think we met like 10 years ago.
Probably. I imagine it would have to be. I'm not sure the last time they played as a band.
I mean, it's been a while because they're not
Hmm.
together anymore. So,
No, no. And I always have to go back and look at either my calendar or the photos to remember dates. If you ask me a band, I usually can say if I've shot them before, but I might not be able to tell you what year.
well, have you shot in the Republic Tigers?
Oh yeah, I was going to mention that. So funny you bring them up. They're one of the bands that, for my day job, I used to travel to Los Angeles almost every other week, and so there was a couple times that the Republic Tigers were playing in Los Angeles, and I happened to be there, and so I was able to photograph them at, I want to say, was it one of them was the Wiltern, and one was the House of Blues, I believe. But
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So it's kind of fun to shoot them here in Kansas City, and then to see them in Los Angeles. It's always fun to see Kansas City bands in a different city.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Um, is there is there ways you have to like get into the doors? Don't you have to like have a pass to get through, taking pictures of somebody famous?
Yep, yep. Almost always, for major label bands, and sometimes specific venues, you have to have clearance. Yeah, credentials.
What do you like? What is like? What's the most okay? How do I say this? What do you enjoy the most as being a photographer?
Well, it depends on what I'm shooting, but when I'm shooting music, I love trying to capture the way the band sounds. So visually you can look at the picture and be like, oh, I get a feeling for that band. Of course, you can't know what they sound like from a photograph, but you get a feel for the aura of the band, and I love capturing that. And once when I get to know people, that's when it gets really fun, because I kind of, yeah, you get a feel for who they are, and they know who you are, so they know who I am. So I feel like there's a comfort level there, and
Yeah,
and sometimes, like, to me, one of the most fun things is when I approach the stage, and somebody on stage that I know sees me, and I just see sometimes they smile broad, and sometimes there's just a little flicker in their eye, or a small smile, and a nod or something, and it's always cool to me to feel like they're happy I'm there, you know.
yeah. So,
Hmm.
do you have a favorite place in LA that you shot?
You
when
know,
you're so
yeah, I'm trying. It's so funny how I forget like names fly off the top of my head and I can't grab them back. Hmm. Oh, the Viper Room was always a really cool venue to photograph. Um, it had a small stage in the corner, and it was a rounded, it was a rounded front stage. So when I would use my fisheye lens, it takes a straight stage and makes it kind of arced, and a round stage, it makes it super round. So that always looked really cool.
Mhm.
Um, it was it was it's always interesting to shoot there because security was super tight. There was a lot of famous people there often, and so you couldn't even turn around with your camera into the crowd. You had to focus on the stage, and you would be you'd be called out if you did. It was pretty fun. Keith Morris from the Circle Jerks and Black Flag used to work there, so he'd be DJing sometimes while the bands were setting up. So it was kind of fun just to be around him, um, doing something besides performing music. I guess he was playing music, but recorded
Mhm.
music, yeah. Anyway, so that was one of the cool places I used to like to shoot a lot.
Is there any favorite places in Kansas City you like to shoot a lot when you get time
Yeah,
about?
they all have something different and neat. I love the Brick for what it is, and the Record Bar, and Lemonade Park is really cool. I love what Wes and Steve and Sean have done with that space. During COVID, turned that parking lot into something that or somewhere where bands could play. During the lockdown
Yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
I'm sure I'm forgetting. The Uptown is amazing. Madrid. I mean, they're all amazing. Lawrence has
Yeah.
great venues too.
Yeah.
I miss
Yeah.
some of them. The Riot Room was one of my favorite places to play. Westport's or play to shoot, and
Yeah.
Westport
Yeah.
Saloon was always super cool.
Yeah. I mean, I miss
Yeah,
the almost all those venues.
yeah.
Um.
Davies Uptown.
Yeah.
You know, I'll shoot like basement punk rock shows sometimes, and those are super fun. It's just fun. Oh, and there's uh, oh shoot, Howdy and Transmission. Those new places are pretty cool. There's a lot of energy in those places too, so it's fun to see. Local and touring bands coming through that aren't playing in Kansas City, but
Mhm.
just outside. And um, yeah,
That's a lot.
it is a lot. I mean, almost anything, and like every city and every venue, you can find something really cool about them. I think that's neat. I like that.
I mean, Kansas City has a lot of cool places to check
Hmm.
out. Like
Yeah, yeah.
there's so many coming up. It's like too
Uh
crazy.
huh. R- Rhino's really cool. I mean, no, we were at a show at Rhino, right? The show that you booked.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. That's a great place too. It's fun to see stuff up in north of the city or North Kansas City. I like that
Yeah.
area.
The
Strawberry Hill is pretty
the
cool.
Do you remember the Czar Bar at the
Oh
time?
yeah. Uh huh.
That
Yep. I
was
used to shoot there a
the
ton.
that was one of my favorites.
That was
Um,
cool. Did you ever go when the stage was right by the door
um, oh, I
when it first opened?
I did. Well, I did have the benefit concert there a while
Okay.
back ago.
Yeah. Was it
Um,
near the safe or the? I don't know if it's called the
yeah,
safe.
it
Okay.
was, yeah. There was a safe
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that was really cool. That was a great backdrop. Um, but when it first opened, the stage was by the front windows, and people would be playing, and they'd have to, move their guitar so somebody could walk by them because it was sticking out across the doorway. It's pretty funny.
Well, but I think that the venue I did it with, it was what so many bands. It was for Jeff Buckley.
Oh, yeah. That
So
was
the
that was at the Czar Bar.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So I mean, there was a lot. I guess the people that were there, there were their management. That was his management, but they asked me to find the bands, and
Oh
then
yeah.
so I said, "Oh, okay, I'll find the bands and get them on stage."
So Jeff Buckley's management asked you?
Yeah,
Oh wow. That's super
I,
cool.
I
I'll check.
don't know. I don't know how they did it, but they did. They got somehow through. I think a friend through somebody that knew him
Uh-huh.
or something, or saw something that was following them on social or something. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, well,
But
that's great. Who did you get to play?
there is a, some new. I don't remember now, but
Okay.
there is like a few,
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
so, a
Cool.
few local in
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City,
Yep.
but
Great.
it's fun though.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, his music's amazing. So.
So it was kind of cool to have everybody playing his music once in a
Mm,
while,
mm-hmm.
and it was just fun to. I had Samantha. She was a photographer through Alicia. I
Okay.
met, and she came down and took some pictures, and that
Awesome.
was that was fun to get her involved for the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. I bet she loved it too.
Yeah. Um, so what kind of folding like what kind of editing software do you use to edit your
So
photos?
yeah. Right now I use Lightroom. Um, I used to use Aperture, which was an Apple product that I liked a lot. Lightroom I don't love, but it is kind of the industry standard. There's another program, DxO, that's out of France that I'm gonna try to start using the beginning of the year. I own it and I need to get up to speed on it, but I think I might transition into that application at the beginning of the year. I like to change when there's a mile marker.
Oh, have you used Photoshop lately?
Uh, I do. I use Photoshop for when I have really extensive editing, but usually what I shoot is more photojournalistic. So I really only need a digital darkroom, which is
Mhm.
what Lightroom is. Photoshop, you can do a lot more with it, but I don't make composite pictures, and I don't do hard editing to stuff usually. Unless I'm doing some portrait work, then I will sometimes do that. So Photoshop, I don't use very often anymore. I used to years and years ago before Aperture was out.
Do you have a dark room in your house?
No, I left it in upstate New York when I moved here. I did have one.
Well, sounds cool too.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun. It's like, well, it's not exactly like woodworking, but it's like it's working with your hands. It's stuff. It's more. Yeah, there's something about being in a dark room and exposing paper from film or developing film. That I miss. I miss that a bit, but it's how it is. It's gone now.
Yeah. Well, how about your kids? Does your kids like you taking pictures of them a lot?
Yeah, I think they used to when they were little. Like Ian, when he was young. I don't remember how old he was. He was probably 8, 9, 10. He would come out and shoot Boulevardia with me on Father's Day, and that was fun. We both of our sons we brought home from the hospital when they were born in kilts that my mother made with material we brought back from Glasgow when my wife Janet and I had gone over a long time ago. So Ian would he had a kilt at the time, and he would dress in a kilt and a t-shirt and had a camera around his neck, and that was fun. It was fun to shoot with him. One of the bands that we shot was Katie Gian and the Girls, and I've got this great picture of Katie and Claire, kneeling down close or bending down close to Ian because he was not very tall at that point, and anyways, just it was a really cool picture of the three of them, Ian with the two girls, and then he shot their show as well, and he would shoot some. Austin never really shot concerts with me, but he has this last year. I started shooting the Sporting KC games for my regular job, and and he comes out and shoots with me sometimes on the pitch, which is really fun.
Well, that's
But
exciting.
yeah. Yeah, it's fun to do things with your kids, especially as they're growing up and get their own
Yeah.
interests and stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What kind of things does he like to do now that not he's you
Yeah,
know
well, Ian's 19 now, so he's studying Japanese, and he's in Japan, in Tokyo, just south of Tokyo, studying Japanese language and culture. Um, and he'll be there for a semester, and then he writes multiplayer games on Roblox. So he's got two games that he's developed. And he paid for his airfare and tuition and everything with the proceeds from the couple of games that he's made.
well, that's
So
cool.
those are two things. Yeah, those are two things he's really into. Um, he plays piano and paints. And then Austin loves to work on electronics, so he will get like really old Atari systems and Nintendo systems and refurbish them. So he'll get them all broken and he'll put them all back together, color bright them, and get them back to the right colors, and replace capacitors and belts. Well, not belts on those things, but on like cassette decks and things he fixes. So he loves to do that. He's just finishing up his electronics degree. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he's gonna do. He don't know if he knows. We homeschooled both boys from the time they were in, I think, second and fourth grade, or maybe first and third. My wife taught them all through high school, and so we always tried to make their education something that they loved to do, so they would love to learn, and make it so that it was, so they could fit in with what they needed in order to get jobs and to learn, but that they could learn it the way they liked to learn. So even with college and jobs, we just kind of leave it pretty open and let things happen as they do. Austin now works for Casey Watch, so he's learning how to repair watches and clocks, and that's pretty cool. He's always been buying like clocks and pocket watches and stuff from flea markets, and has been trying to fix them and has had some success. But now he's formally learning, how to do it proper from a master. So that's pretty
Wow,
exciting.
that's cool. I
Hmm.
mean, if you have a broken watch, you can fix it.
Yeah, and it's amazing. I know. It's amazing what it takes to do that. And I think everybody can sort of understand a little bit. There's tiny gears, and maybe it's complicated or tricky or whatever. But he was talking about the guy that works at the shop. That's the master craftsman, has his master's degree in clockmaking and repair, and you can get your I guess there's one school in America that you can get your doctorate in it, which is, I'm like, wow. I can't. I mean, it's cool. I guess it's not that surprising, but I never thought about it. And I think it's the first semester they work with one spring the entire semester. That's all they do is work on adjusting this one spring. So I mean, it's pretty insane.
So he must have a good eye, because looking up
Yeah,
at those watches, you have to get
yeah.
down and dirty with those
Hmm. Well, he's
things.
got a he's got a monocle, so he's he's in there, you know, magnified and all.
Do you have any hidden talents besides doing photography
Oh man, I don't know about hidden talents.
or
I mean, I make
hobbies?
hot sauce. Hobbies, yeah. I make hot sauce. I make Zim's hot sauce, and we make spice blends. So I'm kind of a flavor mixer. So I do that. I used to make furniture when I was young. That was the first thing I did after school, after college. I made some custom furniture for a man that had his own shop. Um, I don't know. Those are a couple of things.
So,
Mhm.
does your sauce, is it in any local little shop in Kansas City?
Yeah. The pairing has a bunch of our stuff. They're really great. That's a great place to find a bunch of varieties, from our balsamic vinegars to our spice blends and salt, and then all the different heats we have. We have six different heats, from like, I think it's 600 or 800 Scoville units to 20,000 Scoville units.
Oh, that's cool that you have something
Mm.
too.
Hmm.
Great.
Yeah, yeah,
How do you come
yep.
up with how do you come up with the ideas for the sauces?
Well, the first one, I grew up in Buffalo, New York, and I used to cook in restaurants. So I cooked pizza and wings and in restaurants when I was in high school and college, and then waited on tables and stuff too. So I always made chicken wings, and I used to combine different condiments from Frank's Red Hot sauce, which is the original wing sauce made in Buffalo at the Anchor Bar. Um, and I'd mix different things like barbecue sauce and Italian salad dressing and spices and things. And then when Janet was gonna quit her job in IT to raise our kids, we thought, well, shoot, maybe we can make this sauce into a business that she could help with, on the side instead of having a corporate job. And I was taking pictures for Present magazine at the time. Pete Doolin had created that to kind of showcase the really good stuff in Kansas City. It was a really positive magazine. It was about art and music and food and anything that was really great and good in Kansas City. So I would take pictures for him, rock and roll, of rock gigs. And at one of the thank you parties that he threw for the editors and photographers and writers, I brought chicken wings, and he mentioned something about a place on Southwest Boulevard that could make the sauce, co-pack it for you, and that I might think about doing that. And I was like, oh, I had never thought about it, but he put that in my head, and then anyways, in 2010 we started making hot sauce.
That's cool.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, so the
how
first inspiration was buffalo wings, but yeah.
so like is there anything that you're working on that you want to get out there?
Sure, yeah. I'm working on a barbecue sauce. So I started with hot sauce because in Kansas City there weren't as many hot sauces then, and there's a ton of barbecue sauces. Now, if I started in Buffalo, I would have started with barbecue sauce because there's a bunch of hot sauce there. But
Yeah,
so now that I've been doing it for so long and we have a little bit of a name, I thought I'd try barbecue sauce, and I'm finding it very difficult to get just the right balance of flavors. So I'm hoping that after the first of the year, I'll have the formula figured out, and we can start making that.
would it be a spicy barbecue or like like a like a sweet?
It'll probably be there'll be some spice to it, but it's not going to be a hot barbecue sauce. And I guess it'll be a little bit in between a molasses base and a vinegar base. I think my idea or my thought is that I would like to kind of take the molasses and vinegar based Kansas City sauce and mix it with a Japanese barbecue sauce and come up with something that's sort of a hybrid.
That's cool. You come up with some
Something
good
a little
ideas.
bit different, but still barbecue sauce.
Yeah, yeah. I do like barbecue sauce. I use mostly the the ones that say my name on it. I kind of get a kick out of because
Yeah.
I'm because there's some of them have Dano on the side of the barbecue sauce. I
Oh,
don't
how
know what,
funny.
but or
I don't know.
some of the shops that I find at the random stores in Kansas City. But
Okay. Well, one of the things that drove me to want to try to make a barbecue sauce is I can't find any that don't have high fructose corn syrup. The only one that I can find that has no high fructose corn syrup in it is Joe's, and I'm sure there's more out. There's some out there, but they're hard to find, and that's the only one I can find readily. So I thought, well, you know what? Maybe I can make one that doesn't have any high fructose corn syrup or bad ingredients, and it'll still taste good. And that might be at least then I wouldn't have to buy it all the time.
yeah, do you have a favorite like restaurant in Kansas City you like to go to?
Yeah, yeah. I love the Brick. Their food's amazing. Voltaire and Golden Ox are two of my other favorite places.
What do you get there?
Man, well, the Golden Ox. I think I've gotten ribeye there. That's my favorite cut. Um, Voltaire, I've had a bunch of different stuff. Wes is a good friend of mine who owns both of those places. And I've gone in often to take pictures of the food so that, for his website menu stuff. And so I get to try all the different stuff after we've taken the pictures. And so I've tried a bunch of, crazy things. We've had like kangaroo, which was really interesting. It's like a mix between mutton and steak. And Wes, everything, things I vow I detest, like meatloaf. I'll eat Wes's meatloaf. I'm like, yeah, 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 I like that. And ketchup. I don't like ketchup, but Wes's ketchup I can eat any day. Um, so,
Well,
and the
that's
brick, man, go ahead.
that they sounds good. I mean, the food.
Hmm. Yeah, Voltaire is kind of Wes's artistic food. Where he does more creative things. Golden Ox is definitely creative, but not quite on the edge like Voltaire. It's a little, yeah, it's more meat and potatoes, which is as it should be. That's the kind of restaurant it is. But Voltaire is kind of his canvas. So if you want to try something interesting and different, that's definitely a place to go.
All right, I'll have to check that out. Maybe my
And he's
sister
got a
will.
great turntable and sound system, and you can pick records out of his stack of records and play it on this amazing sound system.
Do you have a record player?
Oh yeah,
Do you
yep,
have a
yeah. My friend.
do you have a favorite record though?
Oh, records. Shoot. I've been listening to a lot of Nick Cave lately.
Never heard of it.
Oh
But
no, yeah, check him out, Nick Cave. If you like, um, why can't I think Jeff? You just talked about him, and I know him. Who is the benefit that you did?
oh, Jeff Buckley.
Yeah, see, I just dropped
Oh,
names out of my head and I can't
oh,
remember him. So
oh,
if you like Jeff Buckley, you might enjoy Nick Cave quite a bit. You might check him out.
yeah. Okay, I'll look at them up after this
Hmm.
interview.
Sure.
Um, Let me see what else I have on this list. Did you ever want to do like photography of people or children?
Not children.
Well, I
I'm
mean
not a.
of your kids. I mean,
Oh well, I take pictures of my kids. Although I have I haven't taken as many as I probably should have, but I tried to save them from being in front of the camera all the time. But no, I love taking pictures of my kids. We would take pictures when they were, riding in their go karts and stuff, or, crashing on their bikes on purpose and things, jumping off the swings, dangerous stuff for little kids.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm just
Um,
joking. It was never super
oh,
dangerous.
oh,
My wife
that's
might have
good.
thought differently, but yeah.
So,
But you gotta. Mm-hmm.
how I was gonna say, how do you describe your art to somebody?
Mm, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe honest.
Yeah, you do an
I don't
amazing
know. No, I
job.
don't. No, what's that?
You do an amazing job at the photography that I've been seeing.
Thanks, man. Well, I think that my goal is to capture people as they are, so that's why I say honest. I want to portray them as they are at that moment in time.
So where can people find your music? Like not your music, I mean your art, like your photography.
Yeah. So mostly I put my stuff up on Flickr. So Flickr, and then Zimfo, Zimfo. If you do a search there, that's where I put most stuff. I have an Instagram account, but I don't put much up there. Flickr has a way to organize the photos, and so it's more of an archive for me. Um,
Mhm.
and people look at it, I guess, but other than if they get published, they get published in different, magazines or papers or stuff like that. But just for public use, just Flickr.
How does people get a hold of you to take pictures for? Like if you're doing it
Um,
for bands or something.
yeah, usually I'll get an email or I'll meet them at a show. Usually I meet people at shows, and if I don't know them yet, then they might ask me, or people I know how to get a hold of me, email address, my email address or Facebook.
Hmm.
Did you want me to
Well,
tell you the email address? I don't,
no, no,
I don't want
no,
to assume.
no, 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 you don't have
Okay.
to.
Okay.
They can find it wherever they
Yeah.
wanted to find it.
Bald, bald guy in a kilt with two cameras. It's pretty easy to find.
Well, how did you get into doing that? Were you always doing that?
I've worn a kilt for decades now. I want to say when my wife and I went to Scotland, I came back with a kilt, and then after that, purchased some utility kilts that I started wearing. And I just thought, it was a style. It was useful, utilitarian. I carry a couple of lenses in either pocket on my side, and I've got two lenses on each camera. So without a bag or anything, I can have four lenses and two cameras, which is really helpful when you're stuck in the middle of a crowd and you can't get back to your bag. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I and I like them. They're comfortable. It's something part. You know, uh, yeah, and I don't wear the left knee out of every pair of pants I have because I'm always kneeling and putting my left knee down, so I always have a hole in my left jean.
Do you ever get scrapes on your legs though?
Oh yeah,
Bending down so much?
yeah. I don't have much hair on that knee.
Oh.
It's pretty calloused. I did. I forgot who I was shooting, but it was a long time ago, and it was definitely either a metal or a punk band. And I was shooting at the Bottleneck, and I remember coming home and I had horizontal bruises across my thighs from being, bashed against the front of the stage for the whole show. So yeah, it was interesting. I
I
don't think a
did
kilt or a jeans would have stopped that though.
I did have when I was at seeing I think Alicia at the Granda or the Grand
Oh, the Granada.
yeah, and
Hmm.
I think they were opening up for the
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Yayas or one of them, I don't know, but
Uh-huh. I know I saw him
uh
open for the yeah, yeah, yes out there, but
I saw them at the AAS at the Balmont Club, and
oh,
then
okay, okay.
I saw the um the other band that they were playing at in Lawrence, but I was smashed in a mosh pit, and then my
Oh,
glasses broke, so I was like,
yeah,
so I was couldn't even see after the show, so I
yeah.
was kind of
That's
trying to find my glasses on the floor.
yeah. Yeah, that's awful. I was just shooting a Coalesce secret show at the Bottleneck maybe it was a month ago now, and right in the beginning of the show, the guitar player jumped off the stage over me, but hit me in the head and knocked my glasses off onto the ground. And
Yeah,
luckily, I was able to find them, and they hadn't been stepped on, which isn't crazy. Um, I can't believe they
well,
weren't squashed, but yeah,
well,
but
they were.
yeah, I feel you, man.
I mean, they were squashed. They were like,
Years.
they were broke. I said, oh, well,
I know. I
that's.
always wear cheap glasses to shows.
But I mean, I kind of these are the new ones. So I
All right.
mean, and the other ones got broken because of
Mm-hmm.
my falls. I guess I fall around once in a while
Oh,
because of my
yeah.
legs. But
Mm-hmm.
it's life, I guess. But
Yeah, we all got our thing.
yeah, but you have anything else you want to chat about that's coming up?
I don't know. We've covered a bunch of ground.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do
Yeah,
this with me.
sure, man. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
I will let you know when this is up. I'm gonna
Okay.
log out. I'm gonna log out so I don't lose the footage.
Okay. Sounds great. All right, man. I'll see you at the next show.
Okay, too.
All right. Bye bye.